Okay, gentlemen, good morning. It's time for us to begin. We have about 25 people in our sessions today, so I think we have enough numbers to begin. All right. So we have started a new topic. I already seen that some of you have handed up your assignments and so. So I will get to them as soon as I can. I want to get straight into, okay, Jediah. All right, so I want to get straight into our presentation that we started, which was on food. So I'm going to share my screen now. Right, and I want to bring up that one on food. All right, I'm not sure how far we reached. Let me see. I think we reached to the nutrition labels, right? Maybe up to here. Did we go through carbohydrates, fats, and proteins? I believe we did. Okay, so probably up to vitamins, I believe. All right, so I'm just going to recap very quickly what we did. Right, so we were saying that food has its functions to give us energy to carry on work inside of our bodies, and then to do work outside of our bodies, to repair damaged cells and grow new ones, and to give us nutrients for good health. All right, so the question we were asking is if all foods contain the same things. First, we have to look at the energy content. We said that energy is measured in joules. However, calorie is a unit that is used most often, especially on food labels. And a calorie is 4.2 joules. Right, so we had to guess the energy contents of some foods like apples, 188 joules, butter, 252, milk, 770. We looked at nutrition labels, and we were looking at the calories per serving. And then we compared calories in Frosted Flakes, Pringles, oats, orange juice, peanut butter, ice cream. All right, and we established that this one had the highest calorie content because of this figure, 290, and the one with the lowest calories per serving was orange juice, 110. All right. Then we had some tips for reading nutrition labels. We needed to look at the serving size, which is here, how many are in the container, and then how much you consume, and then knowing the calories per serving, you can multiply that by how much you eat. Right? So if the serving size is 2 tablespoons, what you ate 4, then it's 190 multiplied by 4. Similarly, if you look at the profile of these other components here, the fat, it's 16 grams in one serving. So if you ate 4 servings, you will get 64 grams of fat. Similarly, this is the breakdown here. Cholesterol, sodium, all of these profiles here, you can multiply by the number of servings you eat. And that's going to be exactly how much you ate. You can also look at the percentage values and multiply by the number of servings that you had, so you can get an idea of how much you actually ate. So if you ate 2 servings, your total fat would be 32 grams, and you would also have 48% of your daily value of fat right there. Okay? Again, so you want to look at nutrition labels to see what is low in fat, what is low in cholesterol, what is an excellent source, for example, like the orange juice, right? And you want to choose foods that are low in saturated fats, added sugars, and sodium. But the vitamin and mineral content should be a good thing. Energy value of foods, we said that carbohydrates 17, fats more than twice, 17 by 2 is 34, so it's actually more than twice the amount for carbohydrates. And proteins are more than carbohydrates again, but less than fats, all right? Nutrients in food, carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals, fiber, water. Carbohydrates. These are all the foods that you could find carbohydrates in. Rice, potato, beans, grains, sweet stuff, fruits. They are the primary source of energy for the body. We can have the simple carbohydrates, sugars like glucose and fructose. And complex, we would have things like starches and fiber. Fats, called oils, are secondary energy sources for the body. So unless the primary runs out, our body would not want to use fats for energy. Okay, we know that it has more fat and more energy than carbohydrates. What its function is to be stored as a fatty layer for warmth. All right, where do you find fat? Meat, dairy, fish oil, nuts, seeds, olives, and their oils. All right, fats in excess is considered unhealthy, especially those from animals, because they contain a lot of saturated fat, which can get into your blood vessels. All right, proteins are made up of compounds called amino acids. They are important for building up our hormones, tissues, enzymes, muscles, etc. You can find it in meat, beans, eggs, nuts, and peas. Vitamins, I don't think we got here. So what are vitamins? They are compounds from living organisms that we need in small amounts, much smaller than the other nutrients, all right? So whereas we might need grams and grams of carbohydrates or fats, vitamins you need very small amounts, milligrams or less, right? You can find it in most foods. Thankfully, you can find vitamins in most foods that you would eat, even some of the bad ones, fruits and vegetables, as well as foods from animals. When they are missing from the diet, we have certain diseases. So this is our table on the sources and functions of vitamins. Vitamin A for healthy skin and eyes. Deficiency, you get dry skin and night blindness. You can't see good in the night. Food sources, any food that is yellow or orange or red, whether it's a vegetable or fruit. You could also get it from green vegetables, eggs, meat, and berries. So a wide range of things you could get vitamin A from. Vitamin B1 for energy, healthy heart and nervous system. If you lack vitamin B1, you have a disease called beriberi, which is a disease affecting the nervous system. All right, where do you get it? Whole grain cereals, yeast and peas. Vitamin C, healthy gums, skin and teeth, makes your cuts and wounds heal up fast and your body absorb iron. What happens if you lack vitamin C? You get something called scurvy and you get a low resistance. Scurvy, by the way, is a disease where your gums are bleeding and your teeth are falling out. All right, and this was a condition that tended to affect pirates on the high seas. And this is because they didn't have a lot of fresh fruit or vegetables to eat, so they would have had bad teeth.
Yes, you said this thing hurt your teeth and make it bleed out,
Could you type it, because I'm not hearing? Okay, I'm not hearing all that you're saying. Yes.
When you eat doing enough orange, your teeth, you say your teeth is hurting and it comes as bleeding.
I wouldn't say.
Your teeth does hurt you when you suck too much orange too. When the wind hits your teeth, it'll start.
Right. Okay, I get what you're saying. Okay, that problem that you're describing when you eat oranges has nothing to do with vitamin C. It has to do with the acid in oranges, right? So if you have sensitive teeth, the acid in oranges will affect your teeth. However, what I'm describing as scurvy is something much more serious than a toothache. It's actually, it has to do with your gums. The structure of your gums are falling apart. So they start to bleed without stopping, and eventually your teeth just loose out of your gum and they fall out. All right? So the scurvy I'm describing is more so to do with lack of vitamin C altogether in your bloodstream, and therefore your gums in particular are affected. Okay, so Jada is saying he takes vitamin C every day, but your gums still bleed. Sometimes your gum bleeds when you brush your teeth too vigorously. It's very common. Okay? If you are brushing your teeth too vigorously, your gums can bleed, but this is not scurvy. Okay, so as I said, scurvy is a much more serious disease. This is where your teeth are actually falling out, not just bleeding. It's like your gum is bleeding all day long, like that. All right? Okay. Can you just mute your mic, Shakil? I'm going to continue. All right. Right, so let me just bring this back up. Right, so it's very few people really who have a vitamin C deficiency, because you could find it in green vegetables, tomatoes, guavas, a wide variety of vegetables and fruits, all right? Vitamin D is known as a sunshine vitamin, all right? So it's responsible for giving us healthy bones and teeth together with calcium. A lack of vitamin D gives us brittle bones. We find vitamin D in dairy, eggs, liver, and of course, if we go out into the sun, our bodies naturally make vitamin D. All right? So again, a vitamin D deficiency is not that common. Vitamin E, healthy skin, hair, and cells. You find vitamin E in a lot of skin creams and shampoos and stuff. And a deficiency would be the opposite. You would have dry skin and hair. Food sources, vegetable oil, nuts, eggs, wheat, germ. All of these things give you vitamin E. Last of all, vitamin K is for the clotting of your blood. And if you don't have enough vitamin K, you have a lot of bruising, all right? So again, this is not like if you fall down and get a cut. This is a little more serious than a cut. It's an actual condition that's affecting your entire body, where you bleed profusely if you don't have enough of this particular vitamin, and you will need hospitalization, okay? You get it from vegetables and liver. This is a typo, right? This has nothing to do with vitamin K. All right, guys, we move on. Minerals. Calcium, strong bones and teeth. Everyone knows about this one. You get it in dairy again. Also eggs and green vegetables. All right. Iron for making blood cells. If you don't have a lot of iron in your body, then your blood cells are going to be lacking oxygen, because that's what your blood cells do. They carry oxygen, particularly your red blood cells. That's what I'm talking about here, not your white. You get it in meat, eggs, green vegetables, and liver. All right, again, you can see for yourself a wide variety of foods would have vitamins and minerals. Iodine, thyroid hormones. The thyroid gland is located right there in your throat area. Lack of iodine in the diet causes goiter, which is a swollen thyroid gland. All right, perhaps you've seen someone before with a swollen neck area. That's their thyroid gland, which is swollen, forming a goiter. and this is because of a lack of iodine. Where do we get iodine from? Seafood, anything from the sea really, seafood and seaweed. Yes, there are people that eat seaweed. In Japan, seaweed is a food. The regular sea salt and green vegetables. Again, you see it is very easy to get iodine in your diet. All right. Sodium, last of all, for the regulation of body fluids and important for muscle contraction. If you exercise a lot and you sweat a lot, you will lose a lot of sodium. So it's important to replace your sodium. Very, very easy. Sodium is found in table salt. So once you add salt to your food, in fact, some foods naturally have sodium. You would hardly be deficient in sodium. Fiber, called roughage. It's made up of a compound called cellulose. Cellulose, of course, is a carbohydrate. Cellulose you find in fruits, vegetables, grains, provisions, any of those things where there are parts that are not digested. However, in the intestines, fiber helps to maintain regular bowel movements. All right? So a lack of fiber in the diet causes constipation. All right? And constipation is simply a byproduct of eating a very refined diet and not eating enough of fresh fruits and vegetables. All right? Any questions so far? Anyone with questions?
Miss, I sit on for a whole day, will go happen to me.
What will happen if you what?
I just sit in the sun for a whole day and just stay there. How much will that strengthen your bones?
It works in conjunction with calcium, so it is not necessary to sit in the sunlight all day long. Once you have, let's say, about half an hour, let's say a half an hour exposure, I'm just giving the bare minimum, a half an hour, maybe a half an hour to an hour exposure to bright sun, you would be okay for vitamin D. One of the benefits I can tell you is if you are outside in the bright hot sun for an extended period every day, you would never become vitamin D deficient. And it will be hardly, yes, it will be hardly likely that you would have brittle bones ever. All right? Vitamin D is stored in the body. So once your body makes some, okay, and you are out in the sunlight at least for a little bit every day or even for an extended period, but a few times a week, you will be okay for vitamin D. Remember, you could also get it from the food you eat, right? So you would hardly be deficient in vitamin D. Now, some people are actually vitamin out. Aside from getting your vitamin D, it's a good idea to go out into the sunshine every day. There are much more benefits to sunlight than vitamin D. One of them has to do with your sleep cycle and how your brain operates. Our brains are wired to receive bright light every day for a certain amount of time in order to operate at optimum. If you don't see a lot of sunlight every day or bright light, you're just in a dark room every single day, it will affect how your brain works, and you will be more likely to develop, or you'll be more prone to develop mental health issues, among other things. All right? So sunlight and bright light going outside is beneficial for your health aside from vitamin D. Okay. Last of all, right, so we are finished with fiber. Water, 70% of our body is made out of water, all right? A lot of it is in our blood plasma, and its function is to break down food during digestion, dissolving nutrients in our blood, and transport around the body. As I said, the part of blood called plasma, which is the watery part of blood, is almost 90% water. So water is really doing the transporting and the dissolving, etc. How do we lose water? Of course, we lose water by perspiration, urination, even breathing. Because when we breathe out water vapor. So we lose water when we breathe out as well. Average person needs to drink 8 glasses of water a day on average. If you are large, if you are unusually tall, you would need to drink more water. If you are an athlete or very active, you'd probably need to drink more than 8. Okay? And of course, you find water in fresh fruits and vegetables as well. As I said, fresh fruits and vegetables would have water, but it's no replacement for drinking water itself, okay? So even if you ate a lot of vegetables and fruits, you still need to drink water. Food tests, carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. There are tests in which we can conduct on foods so that we can see if it has fat, if it has proteins, if it has starch in it, and if it has sugars. There are other tests, but these are the ones we need to know at this level, all right? And these are the tests here. I've put them in simplified format for you. This is actually a lab that we carry out in Form 2. The Benedict's test is you're adding the Benedict solution to your food sample, you mix and heat and look for color changes. This is the most dramatic one. So you have it on this side here. It starts off as blue because Benedict's is blue. And then if you heat it and it has reducing sugar like glucose, it's going to turn to green, then to a sort of yellow, orange, and then into red. All right, obviously, if it has a lot, it will turn to red. If it doesn't, it might just stop here or it might just stop here. Iodine tests, a very easy test. You put iodine solution into your food sample, you get a blue-black color. That means starch is present. Emulsion tests, you have your ethanol you add to your food sample, you add water and you shake, you'll get a milky white emulsion. There's an easier test for the emulsion as well. There's this grease spot test. If you wrap something that has fat in it, like a solid food, and you wrap it in wax paper or brown paper, you will see spots of fat forming on the paper. That's how you know it has fat in it. All right, that's just an easy way to know too. All right, burette tests, you add your burette solution, which is about blue in color like this, and you mix it up and you will get a violet to purple color, all right? Balanced diet, of course, we can have a diet, but it doesn't have to be balanced, all right? So the foods that you eat every day, of course, would make up your diet. A balanced diet would have the right balance of all 7 nutrients so you can be healthy. Where do you find the nutrients? We have them in food groups. And food groups would put foods together that have similar nutrients or they come from the same place, all right? So let's look at the food groups quickly. Right, so the staples, which is the largest group here, where we would get our carbohydrates, primarily our carbohydrates you will get here, all right? So your bread, your ground provisions, your rice, your pasta, roti, oats, right? Any of these things, you breadfruit, plantain, bananas, corn, all of these things would be your staples. This would be the majority, of course, of your diet, and it gives you your carbohydrates. Legumes, so your nuts, your peas, your beans, all right, your seeds. In this category, you will get your proteins as well as some fats from the nuts, right? You will also get some carbohydrates from here from the beans and the peas, all right? Foods from animals, okay, so you have your dairy, your meat, eggs, all right, any fish, all of those things you would find in this category here. Notice it's smaller than legumes and staples. So the majority of your food should not come from here, just a small portion. Fruits and vegetables. Now, depending on where you look, you would actually see this portion to be bigger. The exact size and proportion of it doesn't matter. What you should be aware of, the major things, is this is the majority, this is less, followed by this and this. The foods from animals would be less than this, okay? So you have your fresh fruits, vegetables, and then finally, your smallest category is fats and oils. Again, fats and oils, while some of them may be healthy, like the plant oils and fats and stuff, they do tend to make us put on weight, so you want to eat small amounts of this in order to be healthy. Healthy eating plate. Again, this is just a guide to show you an example of what your plate might look like. You would have your rice and pasta, bread, whatever it is here. You could have healthy proteins, your beans, your peas, maybe pieces of lean meat, and fruits and vegetables, all right? More vegetables than fruits, because vegetables tend to have more of the mineral and vitamin content. All right, on the sides here, we say you could use healthy oils and stuff, but I mean, it's not part of the plate, right? So this is not going to be a lot. You're going to limit butter, because butter is a food from animals. It has a lot of saturated fat in it. Drink a lot of water and tea. You're going to limit your sugary drinks, soft drinks and juices, minimum. When you are thirsty, you should drink water. All right? Eat a great variety of fruits. And here, you want to avoid eating processed meats. What are your processed meats? It's the meats that you will find sold in packages. So like your sausage, your salami, corned beef, all right, your tuna in a can, all of those things are processed meats. So you want to limit those. You don't want to eat that as a great deal of your diet. Everybody okay so far? If a certain plate of food has all the nutrients you need and you eat that daily and that only, what would be the end result? Okay, so you're asking if you ate a balanced plate of food every day, but it's the same thing? Jaden, could you explain? Okay, so you eat the same plate of food every day, but it's balanced. That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Nothing will happen to you. You'll be fine. But I mean, because we have so many food options, there's few people that would actually do that. But nothing will happen to you really once it's balanced. Once it's balanced. If you have enough of the different kinds of vegetables and fruits, yeah, they'll be fine. However, if you're accustomed eating something that is not balanced, I'll give you an example. If you're accustomed eating, you're living on frosted flakes every day. The majority of your meals are frosted flakes and a little bit of vegetables or a little bit of rice or something like that. You could become deficient in stuff, right? Aside from the fact that frosted flakes are not healthy and they have a lot of sugar in it, they probably don't have good sources of vitamins and minerals in there. So you want to get it from other foods. So it's not a good idea to eat one food alone every single day, one single food. All right? So if you're, for example, again, if you now I'm not saying that you would starve, you can live, but it won't be your healthiest. All right? Is there someone here who would eat one particular food for every meal? Be honest. Is there anyone here who would eat? Regarding what do you eat for most of your meals? Yes, I'm sure a lot of us could eat one thing in particular. I like pizza, but I can't eat pizza for every meal, right? But if I could, I would. I really like pizza.
Chicken.
Chicken, okay.
But I will respect, you know.
Why? You like pizza?
Yeah, because you like pizza.
Miss, if I could,
Pizza,
I would have
yeah.
sliced cucumbers and pepper and salt with every single meal.
But me,
I love
You would have
most
what with every
bread.
meal?
and carrot. Huh?
Carrot. What you would eat
Miss,
for every
no,
meal?
for every meal,
Because
what I would eat with every meal, if I could, was cucumber with bird peppers and salt. With
Oh, okay, okay.
I mostly eat
like
bread.
a side.
Okay.
Yes, Jelani.
I just mostly eat bread.
Bread. Okay, I like bread too. Yeah. No, nothing's wrong with eating bread every day, okay? Or with every meal, but you have to eat other stuff with it that would supplement. Okay, you can't just eat bread alone. You understand what I'm saying now? So you need to balance your food. So if you like, Shakil, if you like cucumbers with whatever, you can have it every day, but you must eat other stuff with it. All right, so if you have pilau for one meal, you can eat your cucumbers with it. You have pasta for our next meal with some beans. Yes, throw in
Every time
cucumber
I eat
again,
pilau,
like
I
that.
do that.
Huh?
Say every time I eat a pilau, I do that.
Right. But if you have a particular healthy food that you like, right, put pepper with salt. If you have a particular food that you like, once it's healthy, okay, guys, we're not talking gummy bears here. If there's a particular food like Shakil likes his cucumbers with pepper and salt, you can eat it very often with your meals, whatever meal it is. But remember, it can't be the main thing. All right? Pineapple, right. You eat your pineapple with every meal, that's fine, but the rest of the meal has to be balanced, okay? You can't just eat pineapple and you know, nothing else. All right, you should balance your meals and just include a little more of the healthy stuff that you like. Okay, Shakil, salami is processed meat. You can eat it, yes, but it shouldn't be a major part of your diet. A lot of people like salami and processed meats, but it's not that healthy. Okay, guys? Ricardinho, you eat dough, as in cookie dough? Pure cow's milk, okay. Cow's milk is fine, again, but, oh, the dough to make, oh, Ricardinho, you eat dough to make bread? Oh, okay, yes, bacon is fine. Again, remember that's a processed meat, right? So you're not going to eat a lot of that, and hopefully not every day. I'm trying to figure out what Ricardinho is saying. If it's raw bread dough or what? Right. So the names, yes, Shakil, bacon and other processed meats have been linked with a higher risk of cancer. All right, guys. You all are still growing and stuff like that. It is not a good idea to eat processed meats as a major part of your diet. Okay, so kind of lay off eating bacon every single day and every single meal. Same thing with salami and sausages, anything that you can buy in a package. Oh, okay, so you're saying that they're made with dough. So you mean like baked stuff? You eat a lot of stuff that's been baked, like with flour or so. All right, that's fine. Okay, back to what I was saying. So energy and health. Do we all need the same things for good health? The answer is no. All right? The answer is actually no. So what you would eat as young people who are about to be teenagers, or some of you are already teenagers, I don't know, all right, would be different to someone who is older and not as active. So what a person needs from their diet depends on the individual. First of all, we need to know that all the chemical processes, somebody's mic is on, please turn it off. Mic, turn off the mic, thank you. All right. All the chemical processes in the body are called metabolism. So right now inside all of us, our chemical reactions are taking place. All together, all of them in all, we refer to it as our metabolism. Okay? And the BMR, or the basic metabolic rate, BMR, of an individual is the rate at which the metabolism operates when you are at rest. So if you're sitting quietly in a chair, the chemical reactions, the metabolism in your body will be proceeding at a particular rate. That is your BMR. And this varies from individual to individual. Okay? If you are normally a person who is very active, you exercise a lot, you always playing a sport, you're always walking around doing something and you don't sit still, then you would probably have a higher BMR than someone who just sits all day. You know, you play a game, you watch TV, right? You don't really walk around much. So the personal energy needs of an individual depends on things like age, gender, and your lifestyle. All right, so let's talk about age quickly. Babies need a lot of energy because they have to triple their birth weight, they have to get bigger, there are a lot of growing to do and developing. So babies need a lot of energy from their food. They can't eat a lot of food, but they do need whatever they eat, they need energy from it. Okay? So it's a good idea to feed a baby, a toddler, a little child, healthy, balanced food so they can grow properly. Teenagers. Teenagers require a lot of energy because their bones and muscles are growing and developing. And by the age of 21 for the latest, this more applies to boys. For the latest, I think 21 is when they stop growing. All right? I think it's earlier for women, but for men, men can grow up to age 21. After age 21, your energy needs decrease. Okay? So that's why if someone is 30 or 40 or 50 and they consume the same amount of energy as a teenager, especially if they are not very active, they will get fat, they'll put on weight, all right? So the older you get, the less energy from food you need. Again, in summary, babies and teenagers need a lot of energy from food. After they have stopped growing, as they get older, their energy needs decrease. So obviously, the person who needs the least amount of energy would be an old person. They don't need a lot of energy, therefore they should not be eating a great deal of food. Gender. All right, so gender plays a part. Men require more energy than women because they have more muscle mass generally, and women tend to have more fat stores. However, there are also women, especially women who are very active and exercising and so they can have as much muscle mass as men, but of course it's not natural, right? So generally men require more energy from their food. Women require some more energy and nutrients and so during pregnancy, and if they are nursing, all of it will go to the growth and development of the baby. During menstruation as well, women require more iron as blood is lost, all right? Lifestyle and energy needs. Okay, so we look at age. So the older you get, the less energy you need. Women require less than men except during pregnancy. And now let's look at lifestyle. So depending on your occupation and your physical activity, it will affect how much energy you need from your diet. If you're an athlete, you play a sport, you're very active, you run every day, you lift weights, all of those things, you will definitely need more energy from your food than somebody who is sedentary. They just sit all day, they're an office worker, they're behind a computer, they're at a desk. You're going to need more energy as an athlete or a construction worker than somebody who is sedentary. If you as a sedentary person, therefore, would eat the same amount or get the same amount of energy from food as an athlete, you will put on weight, okay? A person who is disabled or bedridden they're not moving, so they're not using a lot of energy. They will require less energy from their diet than someone who is active. All right, this is why you would see sometimes in documentaries, somebody is extremely um, fat. Okay, they have lots of documentaries about that. My 500-pound life and that kind of thing. And the person is so fat they just lay in bed. But instead of eating like a smaller diet with less high energy foods in it, they are stuffing themselves with burgers and fries and so, which have a lot of energy. It's going to make them even bigger because they're not moving around.
Yeah, miss, like it's unfair for the trend to just make one fat illness.
They eat what?
It makes it really unfair for the children because if they start eating lots and lots and lots and get fat, the child could be born fat.
Yeah, it has an influence on the children. Even the habits pass on. So sometimes you tend to find that people who are really large, like in those documentaries, the children might be obese too because they got those habits of eating that kind of food from their parents. So they may be on their way to it. Sometimes these fat persons, their parents were fat, their family members encourage them to eat unhealthy foods. Sometimes they are aided and abetted by family members, so the fat person can't move, but they are, they kind of force their family members to get these kinds of foods for them, and it contributes to their condition. All right, so you just see now a graphic difference. All right, I love pizza, but because pizza does have
beer inside me personally.
yes,
beer.
Yes, beer. Right? Just a kind of summary of unhealthy things that people can eat, which probably taste really good, but they're not very healthy, right? So,
speaking of unhealthy, is rice with cooking oil unhealthy?
Rice? Did you say rice?
Rice with cooking oil. I can't find it.
Some amount of oil is good in your food, but is it really necessary to put cooking oil in rice? Probably not.
No, but my grandfather does.
Yes, I know. Some people have habits.
Used to do.
Yes,
what they used to do when they were smaller.
Yeah. Yes. Some habits that we inherit are not the healthiest. They probably taste good and you enjoy it, but it's not necessarily the healthiest, right?
Miss, I talk and this pour it into it after the thing. After I done cook and done put it on the plate now.
Okay. Yeah. My my dad, he pours olive oil onto his food after he is finished cooking, and he eats it like that too. So I did grow up pouring oil into my food, not cooking oil, but olive oil for taste. Like how the Italians would do, they would pour olive oil onto stuff. I have that habit from home, yes. Olive oil is a good oil, however, it is still fat, right? So you don't want to eat unlimited amounts. So if you're pouring oil on top of your food, you probably don't want to put oil on top. If you're having meat, you put oil on top of that, okay, and other fatty stuff because they're adding fat on top fat. All right, so remember we have to look at how much fat we consume still, because generally the fat you eat is the fat you wear. All right, yes, you put it on your salad too. It tastes great, but it's not something that you should have unlimited amounts of on your food wherever you feel like throwing it, all right? So you need to be careful with your fats. Generally, the plant fats are healthier, so your olives and stuff like that is healthier, your coconut, but it doesn't mean that you just throw everything, throw all of the oil and stuff on top every single food item, unlimited amounts, all right? These add up. The calories and oil add up. All right, so are we what we eat? Definitely. All right, so guys, I think we're out of time here. All right, so stay tuned when we have our next class. Those of you who haven't handed up assignments yet, I'll give you till up to today to hand it up, and after that, I am not accepting any more assignments.
Miss, if we are what we eat, then I am spicy. I just eat way too much pepper.
Oh, right, okay. I hear
You
you.
have to be drowned in pepper, miss.
Oh, okay.
Miss, things like fire. How
Things like-
come?
Uh-huh.
You already do it.
How come they say it spreads by convection if it doesn't release? How come they say that? I don't understand.
Fire?
Yes, miss.
You mean the air above the fire is heated by convection?
Yes.
Remember, you
Miss,
can have more than one answer, eh?
I think I put all for that.
Miss,
You can,
the curling